Welcome home. We are WNST, AM 1570. We are Baltimore positive. And I tell you what, nothing more positive than playing football into the end of January, not even the middle of January, getting toward the end, although the Mile High Miracle showed up on my timeline. I have purchased a Derrick Henry jersey that I christened with a little consomme over here from Nacho Mama's in the Berea Ramen before we lost Nacho Mamas at midnight on Sunday. But I tell you what, we're off to Buffalo this week. Luke's going to be running around Owings Mills. We have flights to Kansas City booked. He and I are going to go to Kansas City if they beat the Bills this weekend. They are an underdog, at least as the week began, but it is a long week. I got a guy here that is the only guy I know other than me that does not gamble on sports. I mean, I was in a bar over the weekend. Everybody's gambling on sports. And I talked to John Martin
Huge.
about that. Slow your roll, make it easy. I hope you're winning and not losing. I hope it's fun and not silly. Leonard Raskin is here. He doesn't gamble with money. He follows the American dream and helps you support that at Raskin Global, where they empower folks to find their financial future and not through a gambling docket. But I tell you what, the Pittsburgh Steelers were on borrowed time till they got here the other
Woo.
day, and now we've got a game here. And I don't know if you had a dollar to bet it on purple or on red, white, and blue in Buffalo, but it's the game of the year, right? I mean, it's the game
Yeah.
everybody's going to be talking
Big.
about. Sunday
Big.
night, last game. Who knows? Maybe Houston wins early on Saturday, and we're thinking about a home game. But either way, this is why we love sports, right? This is
That's
why this
it.
is where we are right now, right?
It's what everybody's watching. It's why everybody's watching. I was at the Ravens game in the chill of the Baltimore evening.
Did you catch a cold? You sound like you're sick, dude.
I
You
think
all
it
right?
came. I got a little sniffle thing going. It came a little before the game, so I didn't tailgate because I didn't want to stand out in the freezing for more than was necessary. And then went to the game, screamed all night, and came home with a little throaty going on
Okay,
top of the
so
snooze.
this is man. What did you sound
And
like
this is
yesterday?
oh, I was just soothing yesterday. That's all I was doing was soothing. What's amazing is it's a great weekend because I was texting with the boy, had to arrange his sleep properly so that
So
we could
your son's
watch
in Ireland, Scotland, so they're 5 hours.
5 hours ahead.
Man, an 8 o'clock kickoff is really
No,
like
no, no.
it's a one
Wait,
a.m.er,
wait.
right?
We got to talk a Buckeye kickoff against Texas.
Oh, right. That's right. He's a
So,
Buckeye, right?
so he was up, and we were FaceTiming and
That's both
texting
nights. He had to change his
both
whole
nights.
right.
Both nights.
At 8 o'clock. The other game was at 8 o'clock too, right? Penn
Exactly,
State.
exactly.
I
So
mean,
it
if you
was
love Ohio State, you want to watch Penn State lose too, right?
absolutely. Well, he didn't care about that one much. It really didn't matter. All we cared about was that the Buckeyes won. So we're texting, FaceTiming, watching the game together, as dads and sons tend to do with the wife. We're watching Ohio State. He tells me, I can hear him. He's screaming so loud after the sack, fumble, pickup, score, Jack Sawyer in the Buckeye game that he thought neighbors were going to call the police.
Well, it was
So
3 in the morning.
it was right. It was 4 in the morning. It was four in the
Yeah.
morning. Exactly right. So we had a great Buckeye game. Then, obviously, a great Ravens game, and outside screaming at the Ravens. I was stunned at the 21-0, as I imagine the Squealers were as well. Uh, I thought it'd be a good game. I thought we'd win. I thought the spread was a little heavy. I think it was 9. Again, not a gambler, but I know what's going on.
9.5.
9.5. I thought that was a little steep. I thought maybe 5. Home plus a couple.
Well, it's
21
funny. We
nothing.
beat him by 17 at Christmas,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And this game here beat him by 14. Way more lopsided. This game.
absolutely. This was a
That was a
totally
good game
different game.
Christmas Day. Yeah.
That was a good game until our Darius Washington cracked
Hit Wilson. Yeah.
Wilson in the fumble. I mean, it was a great game till
Well,
that
the
moment.
Marlin pick too. I mean,
Yeah. But this game was unbelievable. I was shocked at some of their play calls. It looked like their will was broken early, and they just didn't feel like the fight. And then, oddly enough, I don't know, Tomlin, after the 2-minute warning, calling timeouts was just silly. What was he thinking? Oh, we might have a chance to get it back and get an onside kick and make this happen. I don't know what he was doing, but it was quite the celebration. It was a lovely evening.
if he were here, he'd say, "You play to the end of the game." You know, he would do
Well, then
all
he should
that
have
stuff.
played better in the beginning of the game.
Listen,
Oh,
the beating up of Mike Tomlin that's going to commence that already commenced.
it's
It's
crazy.
there. They don't have.
Crazy.
They don't. they don't have a quarterback. Right,
They
right. I mean,
they
they
need a
don't
lot
have
of
a good
things
enough
right now.
quarterback,
That's right.
and
I mean,
that opens
you're
up a
not
lot of
gonna
things.
you're not gonna build a team around Russell Wilson now. That's ridiculous.
So now they have to go in a different. Luke and I went down this river
Justin
with the
Fields is a
drafting of.
decent quarterback. I think they can do a good job. He's a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's
You think
great.
he's going to win playoff games? He's going to beat Joe Burrow and beat Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and Josh
Given it
Allen? I don't think
given
so.
a chance to play, I think he can show it.
Look, Herbert. We think he's a guy who can do it.
I don't
Even
think he
though it looks
is.
like I'm wearing,
I don't think he is.
I'm wearing Chargers blue. I'm actually wearing Oiler blue
I
with my
thought they were
Derek. This is my
stupid.
Derek Henry. By the
I
way, you
thought they
haven't
were.
even commented on my Derek.
It's
Dude,
exquisite.
isn't
I saw
this?
it. I
This is
saw it.
exquisite, isn't it? I mean, look at this
Absolutely.
thing.
Look at that.
This is perfect, right? This is what I should be wearing right now, right?
There
I
you
mean,
go. He romped him. He romped him. I don't think Patrick Queen even wanted to touch him when he ran through the middle. I don't know what that was about. Nobody even tried to stop him. Ridiculous.
well, as we get to this point, I need to bring something up with you. We'll get back to the Ravens game in a minute because you were at the game. I want to hear
Yeah.
all about it.
Yeah.
I woke up on Monday morning early, and Luke and I do all of our morning radio, and I looked on my timeline, and this is so algorithm, and it's
Yeah,
Zuckerberg, and
sure,
like all of
sure.
that, right? The minute I woke up, first thing I do is get my Zeke's coffee ready, and I'm, getting myself organized, and I look on my timeline, HTTR, hail, HTTR, burgundy,
Oh,
gold, gold, burgundy,
wow.
burgundy, gold,
Yeah.
all over my timeline, and I'm like,
Doink.
and I'm thinking to myself, I didn't know I knew so many of them, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you and I are of kindred spirit, age, Colts leaving, all of
Hate,
that.
hate,
That
hate.
Yeah, the H stands for hate, right? Not hail. But the weird thing is they're in different uniforms now. Dan
Yep,
Snyder's gone. This
yep.
kid is likable. I mean, McLaren just seems like such a good dude. I mean,
OH.
I listened to the Redskins broadcast in the
Yep,
car
yep.
on the. Did I say I said Reds? I'm
You
sorry.
did. I get it. It's hard. It's
It's hard.
hard, man. It's been forever.
It's hard.
And
So
Commanders is a weird name. It's a weird name.
yeah, just all of it. The whole Dan Snyder thing. The
Doesn't
fact
flow.
that
Doesn't flow.
so for me, I don't have the same uh instinctive
Hate,
disdain for
hate.
them.
Right.
Same thing with the Colts when Flacco's running around. Same thing even for the Steelers. They're just another team. We've won 2 championships here. I'm 56. I don't think like that anymore as a
Right.
human.
Right.
Even in regard to Chad Steele or Greg Bader, I just don't. Donald Trump. I don't even think in that way. I just
Well,
sort of like
it ruins your life. It
yeah, I
ruins
mean,
your life.
I
That's the
just sort of
problem.
move around that I'm not consumed, even though I have consomme from Nacho Mama's. I'm not consumed. I just like saying consomme. It's a great word.
There you go.
Makes me feel like I want to go to Paris or Quebec. I feel like with the Washington football scenario, I'll say this. I know Dan Quinn. I've
Yeah.
spent time with Dan Quinn in and around and the Salisbury State part of him when he was with the Falcons. And
Yep.
he's just such a good man. I mean, you can't spend 10 minutes with Dan Quinn and not like Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
And, you just can't. And I'll say the same thing for the kid that coaches the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell. I spent an hour and a half with him at the owners' meetings a couple years ago. Just how often do you hear me say, oh, I'm so impressed by – it's like Tony Romo who's impressed by everybody. You know what I mean? Like when I kiss somebody's ass, count on it. It's like Charlie Ekman. Go to sleep. Like I'm telling you, Dan Quinn is
good people.
Eminently likable.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're playing 30 minutes away and they play in the state of Maryland. They're
Right.
Maryland's team, whether
They
we
are.
like it or not.
They are indeed.
Right? They're the NFC. They don't mean anything. They,
And
like
we have two teams. When they didn't want us to have a team, I always laughed when they said they didn't want us to have a team, and then ultimately
we're the more successful ones.
They move the team to Landover, and people think it's Washington. I'm saying it's in Maryland, dude. It's where the Caps used to play.
I'm not looking to in any way become a Commanders fan, right?
No,
or to have them be my second team, or when the Ravens eventually go into the toilet because of people like Chad Steele. When the Ravens put some 4-13s up, which they haven't in 30 years, but it's
let's hope it doesn't come.
Look at New England. It's I mean Pittsburgh, and
things
that's
happen.
one of the reasons you don't fire Mike Tomlin. It's probably one of the reasons you don't fire John Harbaugh, even if he loses at home to Pittsburgh on Saturday night, is that you don't
consistency is what you need.
Well, I mean, Leonard, you manage money.
Yep.
How much money would be a miracle as a client that you would promise somebody, I'm going to over 10 years get you 12% for it? Like if you
It's
promise me something,
impossible.
impossible. There,
It's
thank you.
impossible.
Okay, so
Doesn't
impossible.
exist. It's not
There's no
reality.
such thing as 10 years and 14%. There's no
No,
such thing.
it's not reality.
Okay, so whatever you would promise them and say, if the market's doing 8 and I get you 6 and we're always to the good and that's the Steelers right now. They're
Yep.
never going to get you 20,
Yep.
but they're going to get you 4s and 6s and we're going to stack that up and we're winning. But in your world, that wins the Super Bowl. That's how you wind up with $1.7 million in your retirement account, right?
Par.
Literally.
All you got to do is shoot par. You don't have to be the best of the best. The best of the best, and you know the data better than me. Let's talk golf for a second, or we can look it up and find it, whatever. Between the number 1 golfer in the world and the number 25 golfer in the world, 10th of a stroke around or something ridiculous, or the 100th between number 1 and number 100 is a very small margin to par. And when you look at the NFL, they want parity, let's face it. Why is Washington in the playoffs? Because they weren't good. And so they get to play teams that also weren't good. And then you get to win. You can't always get a top draft pick. And then when that happens, the thing in Pittsburgh, they're good enough not to get a great draft pick and not good enough to win. So they're trying to trade their way in and pick up the right people. And
hey, they didn't stink when they drafted Roethlisberger. He wasn't a top 5 pick.
Right. But let's face it, neither was Tom Brady, I don't think.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Wasn't that
Neither was
what
Lamar
was that?
Jackson, who everybody
8th
passed
round?
twice.
Yeah,
Right.
Lamar Jackson, the last pick of the first round of the draft. Last pick of the first round. How about Brock Purdy? Last pick of the last round. I think he's going to get paid this year.
Roethlisberger was the 11th pick in the draft in 04.
Okay.
The 11th.
But
yes.
Purdy was the last of the last.
Yeah, and I don't know. They didn't win the Super Bowl with him, and I don't know that they're going to. When you can say you get close with the Garoppolo. I mean, there have been some guys in the Super Bowl that you would say,
how'd they get there?
Blake Bortles made it to a championship game. I mean,
how'd they get there?
Things happen.
That's right.
But inevitably, you want to take your chances with the best stocks. And
yeah.
But it is in football. It is amazing that winning is not Buffalo. They have not won a Super Bowl. Detroit,
nope.
Look at what they're going through from fan bases this week.
Yeah.
We've won 2 here. We haven't won lately, and Lamar hasn't won at all. And the only guys around here that have won are DeCosta, Tucker, and Harbaugh. Right, all the rest of these people are trying for the first time in this organization to do this. And it's hard to do. And,
it's hard.
And the day after you get eliminated, everybody wants to fire everybody and everything. And you realize there's a lot of sustained success in Pittsburgh and Buffalo and Baltimore that has not included championships in this era.
Well, I read, I don't know, a few weeks ago that you have to have a winner if you end up with Buffalo and Minnesota. Somebody's got to win.
Well, and the same thing would be Detroit if they were to get
No, but you know what I'm saying. How many times is Minnesota? What are they, 5? Over 5?
Yeah.
And Buffalo, look at Buffalo. How can you call them a failure over the years? 4 straight Super Bowls.
And what they've built there in regard to the community, and I see the stadium coming up and all that.
Why
I can't
are they
believe
not building
they're
a
building
dome?
new stadium there. I can't believe that they're sacrificing all the tailgating.
And not a dome. Stadium. And not a dome.
Well, I don't think they want that.
I get it. It's crazy. It's crazy.
How'd you like to be one of the taxpayers in Long Island or Montauk paying for it in New York?
Yeah, nice. Well, they don't consider that New York. They consider that Southern Canada.
Look, man, Bon Jovi can't even show face in Buffalo after trying to take the team to Toronto, right?
That's right. Forget it.
Leonard Raskin is here. He's trying to put together money to buy franchises here, including the defunct Oiler franchise of my
Houston Oilers.
Yeah, man, I'll sing that song all day long. Somebody wrote on my timeline like, you do know they wore the jerseys this week, and I'm like, it's awful that the Tennessee Titans were
right.
But it doesn't stop me from wanting to wear it and look good in it and sport, especially when I bought this for $45. I told you 75 cents on the internet, brand new with tags on it. My wife,
Derrick Henry.
My wife came home Sunday night because she's been with her family the last 10 days in Florida, it's freezing as well, and she's like, that jersey fits you well. She said,
There you go.
at least it fits right. It doesn't hang off of you. And I'm thought, well, there's my fashion statement. She might
That's
as well be
right.
Kyle Juszczyk's wife making fashion
Right.
statements. So for you with the Ravens this week, and
Yes.
for what you're PSL holder, you're a club seat holder, your voice is awful, Leonard, because you've been out there yelling.
Screaming
expectation of them to win, go to Kansas City, win,
tough.
drag you down to New Orleans and drag 30 grand out of your pocket to go and do it.
I think this week is the tougher game, personally. I think they will have a tougher game with Buffalo than if they win with Kansas City. Just the way we play, the way they play, got to really step up. And you're playing at Buffalo.
35-10. You know what I mean?
And killed them like they weren't even on the field. Can we do it again? Look, we've won 5 straight, all by, 15 or more? All by double digits, big wins, not against terrible teams. Made Pittsburgh look terrible. So I watched the game, went to the game Saturday night, got home, I was all jacked. I was just juiced up. Friday night, Ohio State win. Saturday night, Ravens win. Saturday night, Washington Capitals win. The only Washington team I root for. Ovechkin with another goal, 22 short of Gretzky's all-time record. So I get home, got to let the dog out, grab a spot on the couch, have a little late snack, flip on the TV, and watch the game.
Well, it's all day. I mean, I'm tired of looking at screens. And,
but I had to watch the game. I got to
take a couple of days off here,
Listen to the commentary, and they couldn't believe, Pittsburgh had no will. They were talking about it the whole game. I was stunned myself watching it live. But watching Derrick Henry, let me ask you something here.
Well, Isaiah Likely had one too.
Yeah, but I thought when you're a lineman and you're blocking, right, you can't go to the head. It's illegal hands to the face.
But for running back, whatever you want.
Receiver, he threw
the
a
head
right
slap
cross.
is back. Deacon Jones would be happy with that.
He threw a right cross at Fitzpatrick and threw him away like a rag doll. I mean, my God, that's crazy. And then I was worried. I was really worried. Saw Lamar take a knee to the back. I was real worried there. I thought we had cracked ribs and all kinds of bad. He got up and ran again the next play.
Josh Allen at the end ripped his fingernail open. Bleeding all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that's going to be a story for sure this week.
Can he throw without a fingernail? I think so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think there's all sorts of things going on here that work against both of these teams once they get to Kansas City next week. If that were the case, Kansas City's a 10-point favorite at home.
Has Kansas City played in a month? I mean, my goodness.
Not hard.
Right.
That worries me even more, getting them healthy and prepared and all that.
That's why I want to see Houston
I think they
them.
will steamroll Houston on Saturday.
I think so, too. I think
it'll be 24-3 at halftime, and and then it's on. And then Sunday night we have to – but Philadelphia's in the tournament. They could be playing each other next week, and this thing could – this thing has all the potential to be legendary, right?
Could be.
All the way through. And I've even said to Luke, if the Ravens go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, and you think about the pathway of destroying Pittsburgh, winning in Buffalo, however they'll do it, I hope it doesn't take a Mile High Miracle or an Orchard Park overture or, I don't know, whatever it would be. And
I'd like to see him roll.
Win.
Roll.
If that's what happens, if that's the pathway, it continues this storybook story for this kid from Pompano Beach who is better than everybody else at football, right?
Right. And I don't know when MVP voting takes place. Is it already done?
Yes, voting's in. Yes.
It's already done. Okay, I didn't know that.
This does not affect that.
I didn't know that. So that was my point. This Sunday night would be an amazing picture of who wins. I mean, if we go in there and the offense destroys them,
nobody's going to care about the most valuable player trophy the morning after they get eliminated. It's like Luke said, that NFL honors thing they do.
Yeah.
If you're there accepting the trophy,
sucks
lost.
To be you.
Yeah,
right. If you're at the Pro Bowl, it's not the game. And now what is it? Flag football. If you're at the Manning Flag Football Bowl, you lost. It's a bad day. I get it.
Well, it's a great
the only people that really care I think the only people that care is that when the Hall of Fame notifications go out.
Yes, very
That's the
much
only
so.
people that care.
I had Clark Judge on last week to talk about what we talked about.
Yeah,
Steve Smith, who
yeah.
was at the game the other night, Yonda,
Saw
and
Steve. Saw Steve in the
yeah.
box.
Oh, yeah,
Had
that's
a
right.
chance.
He was doing all of that,
Had a
right?
chance to shake Steve's hand, give him a hug, congratulate him. We had a 2-minute little chat there.
He's
It was
saying
good to
anything
see
about
him.
getting in. We'll
I
see. We'll
just I
see.
just I just said, hey
There's
man.
nervous energy for all those guys that are on the bubble.
And how about
I
I
don't
think the
think he really
Ravens.
thinks he's getting in this year because he's not.
I don't know. I think your guys, your marketing team, and whoever they did a great job Saturday night of Baltimore. They really did.
Well,
I'll tell you,
all-time low, and the girl with
they
the
had
violin was unbelievable, right?
she is fantastic. I've seen her online, and I didn't realize she was going to be there live. It was amazing. And then Suggs, Steve Smith, Nada, and then beginning middle of the fourth quarter, they bring out Ray. Where was he hiding for 3.5 quarters?
All they should have done, you know what they should have done was played Renegade at the 2-minute warning when it was a 14-point lead. If they
Yeah,
would have played Renegade for the Ravens fans to
yeah,
party,
yeah.
oh man, I endorse that, by the way. If you see Chad Steele, don't mention the press pass that
Right.
I don't have this week. Mention the fact that they should have played Renegade. If they
Too
wanted
late.
to be tough guys,
Right.
they had a chance to do that. You know.
Yeah, well, they brought Ray
Can
out.
you
That was
imagine
fantastic.
when Tomlin calls the timeout? Okay.
Yep.
Oh, mama.
Yep.
Oh, my God. It would have been on like Donkey Kong. There, Leonard Raskin is here.
He might have been on the field. Tomlin might have been on the field.
Money and manages the American dream beyond Lamar Jackson's American dream of making all this money and trying to win football games this week.
Absolutely.
Elevator speech for what Raskin Global? What is Raskin Global, Leonard?
Raskin Global is a firm of advisors who help entrepreneurs, business owners, executives, ordinary Americans do the right thing with their money so they can achieve their American dream, so they can do with their money what's more important than the money itself. They understand its value to them for what? Whether it's to go to a football game in Buffalo, which it's not for most people, whether it's
tickets
to
are cheap, $1.50. You know, if you want to go freeze again, you've been to a game in Buffalo.
I have.
Yeah,
I've
been to. I mean,
it was yelled at for 3 quarters.
So I'm wearing the Oilers
crazy
jersey right now. I was not at the game with the comeback. I was there the year before. The Bills soundly beat the Oilers, maybe 27-13 the year before. And Kelly was on the ascending. It was the late 80s. Warren Moon was Warren Moon, and they were doing it. They just weren't good enough. Defensively, certainly weren't good enough at that point. They were running and shooting and doing all of that. I saw that game, but I was there when they freight trained the Raiders. The Art Shell, Jay Schrader 51-3 game. Ted Marchibroda, the K-Gun offense. I went to that game. I fell in love that weekend in Buffalo, 1980. It was New Year's Day, 1988. I was up there for those games. So I went to Buffalo Bills games back in the late 80s with Rasig. Rasig's coming on this week. He's a lifer Bills as well.
It was cold.
But then in the modern era, when the Ravens existed, we played up there every 3-5 years.
Yeah, I've been there.
I've been up 6 times in the modern era.
Tailgated with Buffalo friends. I never broke a table.
I mean, when I've gone up there, to be really honest with you, it was amazing in the 80s. It was just amazing to be there when they were winning 51-3 and going to their first Super Bowl, the one before Norwood. That was their first AFC Championship game. Rasig and I drove in our car with Judy Edgar. We all went to Buffalo, spent the weekend in Buffalo, and went to that game. We didn't have a team here then. Remember? I was there.
Of course.
It was 1988, 89. And in the modern era, the Bills thing, my wife and I have been married 22 years. She's probably been up there 2 or 3 times. Luke's been up a couple. I went up before that.
Yep.
It's always been like 80,000 seat stadium and nobody in it because it's hard to fill, and they were awful. I'm talking about Marshawn Lynch was up there and Ryan Fitzpatrick and just so all of that. I'll tell you, dude, if you want an environment, and I know it's going to be
crazy
cold,
now.
it's supposed to snow on Sunday.
It's going to be crazy wild.
Tickets are $1.50. You can go if you want to go. It's 6 hours. Luke and I talked about going, and the reason we're not going is we didn't want to drive all day Monday. I got radio to do. And it's sort of like, all right, the credential thing and sitting out in the cold, whatever. But we're flying. We have flights out to Kansas City. We're going to go to Kansas City next week. Luke's going to use his credential. I'm going to stand like this, like the Hispanic guy drinking from the water fountain out in the back. The frozen water fountain out in the back. After doing this work for 40 years, but I would say Buffalo. This is an experience. If people, you know what I mean? Like
Absolutely. It's a great
seriously,
place.
like if you're going to go to a
Great
road
place
game,
to see a game.
and I
Great
would run a
place.
bus. If I felt like there were 50 people that wanted to get on a bus with me and go up, I would go up and freeze. I mean, I don't dislike Buffalo. I think it's a great trip.
No, it's a great,
I've just
great
done
town.
this for 30. People are asking me why I'm not good. I'm locked out. If you want to be a dick
Right,
about it,
right.
fine. Oh, you want to buy tickets like that? I bought more tickets than anybody you know. Than
Yep.
anybody you've ever known. I
Yep,
have bought
yep.
more Ravens tickets. Baker Koppelman, other than Minder, I have bought more tickets than anybody in the history of histories of PSLs ever. And to be treated the way I was treated and to be told I can't have a press pass while my Caucasian employee can after 30 years because of some guy, like I'm not in a hurry to spend 6 hours in the car driving to Buffalo. Now, that being said,
or taking other people to make them money.
Kansas City's going to cost me $300 to get in or $400 to get in. I love that stadium and the vibe.
It's a crazy place.
It'll be worth it to me. And Luke's going to have whatever. I hope we win. I'm not rooting to not go to Kansas City. Anybody thinks I'm rooting against them. I'm the guy wearing the Derrick Henry jersey. I'm the guy that will be firmly first in line to say, I told you so, if they win the Super Bowl 4 weeks from now with Derrick Henry. Really.
Here we are. We're that close. We're that close. It's the guy you want, as Lamar said post game. He takes the pressure off of him. It was kind of stunning early in the game. They were not going to let Derrick Henry beat him, and Lamar ran all over him. Then they said, "Oh, we got to stop that guy." And then Derrick Henry ran all over him. And then Lamar threw to everybody and anybody that nobody knew who they were. Some of these guys didn't even know their name. Guy catching a ball, guy running a ball. Who are these people? I don't know, but they're doing it. And what did we say after the KC game last year? It was really simple. You can't throw the ball 20 times in a row. You can't call 21 passes in a row and win the game. So
they tried to run the ball 15 times in a row to start the game against Pittsburgh.
What did they do? They ran. Did they run 50 times? 50 running plays, I think it was.
I'll get you the full stat pack here. Lamar ran 15. Henry, which is too much. Derrick Henry ran 26. I mean, Lamar ran 10 times in the first quarter.
Right. That's 41.
You're mentioning Sims running the ball, correct?
Yes.
Right? So,
yes.
He one's for 15, and then you're mentioning Miller. Miller catching.
Miller. Right.
Miller catching 3 balls. Yes.
And then Justice Hill.
Oh, well, we know who he is, yes.
But I'm saying running the ball. They ran the ball
6 times.
They ran the ball almost 50 times.
26 and 15 is 41 and 9 is 50.
50. That's what I said. 50 runs. And that's how we're going to win. That's how we're going to beat Buffalo. It's how we're going to beat Kansas City. It's how we're going to win the world. That's what you got to do. It's who we are. And it brings time of possession, makes it easier on the defense, less possessions to worry about. What do we
and it's going to snow in Buffalo Sunday.
2-1 time of possession. Yeah, and it's going to snow. So be a great time.
Well, it's the reason we got Derrick Henry to get off the bus with him in Orchard
Absolutely.
Park on Sunday night. Leonard Raskin can be found at Raskin Global. He handles money and the American dream. All the information up at raskinglobal.com. It's also at the front of Baltimore Positive and ads and all that good stuff. Leonard's very easy to find to give you some advice, take a phone call from you. Meantime, Luke is in Owings Mills. Together we are gathering here and speaking all week long. I have legends of the Ravens on. I have Hall of Fame voters. I have Buffalo media people like Vic Carucci coming on, Steve Tasker. It's going to be a big week around here. Buckle up your chin straps. We got the game of the year, the game of the century coming up in the AFC divisional playoff in Buffalo. Leonard will join us next week, hopefully in the victory circle on route to Kansas City. I'm going to Kansas City. Kansas City, here I come. I'm Nestor. He's Leonard. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking barbecue and crab cakes and all that good stuff. Go beat the Bills this week. Put them out of their misery.